Ah, where am I? Bring me back. Why am I not here? Oh. Whoa. There we go. Hi. Whoops. I don't know what happened there. I kind of just vanished. All right. I think we are on board here. Everything's kind of working. YouTube's doing its YouTube thing. And Twitch looks okay right now as well. It's kind of funny because I can stream at 1440 on Twitch or on YouTube. Gotta love that. Only 1080 here. I'm not in the partner program, so I don't have access to the Twitch like enhanced streaming beta thing they're doing, but anyway, yeah, we're just kind of trying some stuff out here. How's it going, Master Kazam? Hope everything's good for you. I seen you've been playing a lot of Torum Online. I pop in occasionally and kind of check it out. It's got that like nice old school like Maple Story kind of feel to it. I like it. It's very chill. Yeah, it may not seem like it, but I do always check in on you guys. Demon Chuckle's been playing a little bit of Alan Wake I've seen, and Abyss was doing Monster Hunter yesterday. So yeah, always kind of checking in. I can't watch every stream, but I usually pop in for a couple minutes at the very least. Yeah, I've been, well, not really affiliate. So they Twitch like had a new thing that they just started where it's like a streamer plus mode or something like that. It's hard to explain, but it's like they've added 4 tiers total now. So you have the normal just started streamer thing, which is what we were, and then there's like the streamer plus where you get access to stuff but it's more limited. And then you get affiliate, which is basically just partner without the badge, and then you get partner, which is like I think extra VOD storage and just some very very like minor perks outside of that. So not really anything too crazy. Trying to think. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of been overwhelming, like all the stuff that's been unlocked now. I didn't expect it to be this kind of crazy, you know, like because you don't get a chance to play around with it beforehand, so you don't really realize like how much stuff there is, like setting up channel points, which I don't even know what to do for rewards. I never thought I'd actually have these anytime soon. So that's a thing. Bits and stuff, and like bits you can get bits from viewers, but you can't like use them for extensions, which is kind of frustrating. So yeah, it's I don't know what to do here. I'm kind of lost. But yeah, I've been trying to do like a bunch of stuff, setting up YouTube streaming, you know, setting up like just all the little things I can. I'm also working on my model a little bit more. This is the 4K model. I have the 2K one's the one I normally stream with. 4K is pretty heavy on the PC when it comes to streaming and games and doing this at the same time. And I'm still working on my 1K model. So it's a lower resolution model, but it helps with like, you know, if I'm playing a more graphically intensive game, I can swap to that, and it should allow me to be a little less stressful on the system, and I could be a bit, you know, mobile. You know, so yeah, just lots of stuff that I'm dealing with. And then I'm also working on some art assets, you know, because in addition to the new model, you know, I'm going to have some new like artwork and stuff to go with the stream. So yeah, so looking at maybe commissioning some people for some stuff like emotes, because apparently I have emotes now. So that's always kind of fun. Nothing fancy. I just have the normal, like, where are my emotes? Emotes, please. Okay, that is not the right ones. Where's my emotes? My emotes don't show up in here? Now I'm confused. Where are my emotes? Hmm. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there you go. So I do got some emotes. Nothing crazy. Here, I'll just put them all in. So those are the 5 free ones, the high, and then those ones. They come with Twitch, like Twitch provides them. And then, you know, if you want to make them custom, you can. But I also have like 5 subscriber ones, I think, plus a couple extra. And then also like I could do like the tier ones and stuff. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it, you know, you know, yeah, it's weird. There's so many little things. I don't have to deal with ads, so I guess that's kind of a perk. So I get to monetize and not have to sit there and hit the snooze button on ads all the time. Let's see. What else? Well, there was some other interesting stuff that was on here. That's kind of about it. Like, it's underwhelming in how much you actually get, but it's still cool. The channel point thing is, I think, the biggest stuff, because, like, it allows me to come up with some stuff that, like, you know, allows viewers to kind of have more interactions with the stream. Oh, and I can do polls now. So I could do, you know, we'll create a new poll here, and, let's see. Who is more, let's see. Who is more silly? We'll do... There we go. Uh-huh. So there we go. Now we got a poll at the top. You voted for Demon Chuckle. You're right. He is a pretty silly guy. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Being able to actually do like polls and predictions too. So like I could do a heads or tails, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so I have a lot of ideas now that I can do for the stream to make it more interesting. So that's cool. I'm really glad about that. It looks like the YouTube side's still doing pretty good too. Let's see here. Yo! Hey, Abyss. What's going on, man? We were just talking about you. Maybe I should have put you in that poll. Let's see here. Well, it's still going good. Ah. Interesting. So in my YouTube chat, it says that Abyssal Void is raiding on Twitch with a party of 1. Okay, sure, why not? I appreciate that, Abyss. It's a pretty short stream. I'm just kind of testing. We're checking out like YouTube streaming. Let's see here. Seeing if the YouTube side of things is working out. So far, it seems to be holding up pretty normal. 1440p 60. So yeah, it's doing pretty good. It's actually, yeah, it's looking great actually. Yeah, Twitch's bitrate's holding really well. YouTube bitrate is holding really well. I haven't had any really like major drops or anything yet. Granted, I'm not playing any games or anything, but I mean, just general stream quality is really good here. Let's see here. Wow, that looks really good on the YouTube side. Yeah, no complaints. No complaints at all. We'll drop that down to 360p. So yeah, yeah, just been setting up a lot of stuff on the back, you know, back side of things, and there's still a lot of stuff I have to set up. My question would be your codes. Oh, codecs. AV1 for Twitch or for YouTube. I still have to do HV what is it, H.264 or whatever it is for Twitch. So yeah, I followed a guide, so it let me kind of dual stream a little better. Yeah, it wasn't too difficult, to be honest. If you watch is it Nutty, he has a lot of really useful videos about this kind of stuff. So like I set up streamer.bot to help out a little bit with some basic stuff from Nutty. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do channel points with streamerbot, but sooner or later I'll have all that ready to go too. So I'll be a real streamer. Yay. Not really, no. But should be a more interactive stream is kind of what my goal is. So, be able to spend channel punts for some goofy stuff to happen on the screen and memes and all that kind of stuff. So, polls, predictions, all the silly stuff that every streamer's supposed to have, right? But yeah, let's see if I can link some of that. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, this guy right here. He's an awesome person to watch for like if you watch him on YouTube. He has a lot of really useful videos about multi-streaming and just all that kind of stuff. Really helps kind of trying to think here. How did I have it set up? I'm using Ada multistream. Trying to find the right dock for that, and I can actually tell you. Where is it? No, not that. That's the multi. Oh, here we go. Okay, I am using. No, not that. That's the stream key. Using constant bitrate. I'm streaming at 40,000 kilobits per second on YouTube. Let's see. Slow, good quality. Using 2 passes at quarter resolution. 2 B frames. I got look ahead and adaptive on. So hopefully it looks good on that side. Let me see if I can pull open the stream so you guys can kind of check it out too. I'll link that. There, that's the YouTube stream. And then, well, I have a gig fiber, so I have 900 up and down, so I can stream as much as I want with that kind of power. So, well, see, that's the thing is YouTube can have a much higher bitrate than Twitch can. 40K is actually kind of on the lower end. You can stream well over 50K if you really wanted to, but I mean, that's overkill. So, but my connection can absolutely handle it. For Twitch, it's just the standard settings. I have it at, hold on a sec here. Yep, also set to constant, 7800 kilobits. Slowest quality, 2 passes quarter, look ahead and adaptive, 4 B frames. So, yep. So I'm still under 50K total, but 40K on for YouTube is what lets me get the 4K, or not 4K, 2K streaming, the 1440p. And then on Twitch, the best I can do is 1080. You can do, I think it's like a little over 8,000 on Twitch, But the problem is that if you don't account for the spikes, you can have the stream drop because you basically have been pushing too much bitrate for Twitch's servers. So that's why I have it set to 7800. That's the best resolution I can, or the best bitrate I can really push without like it being like too bad. And it's only really an issue when it comes to like compression on anything that has like a lot of like color or like movement in the screen. But I mean, that's pretty standard bitrate destruction for everybody. I do not disagree. I remember as a kid, people arguing about like megabytes in cartridges. Was it megabits or megabytes? So yeah. Yeah, no disagreement at all. But yeah, let's see here. Right. Yep. Exactly. Let's see here. Yeah, still looking good. Yeah, YouTube is like, the stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. We recommend that you use a stream bitrate of 13,500 kilobits per second. But it's also telling me my stream status is excellent. So yeah, not really sure. Seems to be fine, to be honest. Well, bits and bytes, I mean, it's kind of... I mean, yeah. I don't really look at that so much, I just look at the number. But it's, to me, it's like the hard drive thing, when they're like, oh, you have a terabyte of space, and then you format it, and you only have like 900 megabytes. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Back when bits meant everything, man. Yeah, the first like petabyte drive is going to be wild. I genuinely can't imagine a petabyte drive. But then again, I think, a decade ago I was saying like, well, actually 2 decades ago I was saying stuff like, I can't imagine that we'll have a terabyte drive. Yeah. You're reminding me of the AVGN watch thing when he's going off about 64 bits, 32 bits. Well, if I remember correctly with the terabyte thing, is that like when you format a hard drive, there's still a little bit of space that's left over as like it's like a reserved space. So there is actually a terabyte, but like the way that the like the numbers work out or whatever, like you can't actually use that little part of it. It's really weird. But basically it's just about math. Like the computer goes, "Oh, you have this much space," and it measures it in like, however many bytes, and then that's it. That's all you get. So, because I remember, like, if my memory's a bit foggy on this now, but I remember that Microsoft Windows used to have like a really weird issue with recognizing drives of a certain size because it didn't understand like how did it go? It was like it didn't understand how to read above a certain amount of like bytes or something like that. I can't quite remember what it was, but it was something about instructions with like 32-bit versus 64-bit and stuff like that. But man, that was a long time ago now. I think Windows XP, I think, was like the big barrier breaker for that. Exactly, right, yeah. Yep, but you got it. That's exactly right. Yep. And you don't get the fun little tricks like with CD-ROM drives, where you you know, you can overburn into the extra part. Then you don't have, you know, you have like a 750 megabyte drive, but you could actually get 800 if you overburned it. You know, but yeah, those were the days. Man, I haven't thought about stuff like that in ages. It's so weird how like accustomed we've grown to not really tinkering with like technology as much as we used to. Like my computer used to be in pieces every other day because I was always tinkering with it. Nowadays, it just sits and collects dust while it actually runs and does its job. Depending on the format of the drive, which type of instructions it will vary with the data part. Yep. Yeah, it's like a reserve memory type thing. Drive needs to contain its own index for files, so that when the system user looks for files, the drive knows where it is on the scan the drive every time. Look at you guys. Need to hire you guys for tech support. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. Well, I mean, those are still on the market. It's the cheapest way to get all of the extra space that you want. Now, are we talking like old disc platters? Because how are we talking? Because if we're talking like the old, like, you know, 70s and 80s disc platter drives, those things were massive for how little space you actually got on them. But I mean, at the time, that was massive space. But the actual size of those things is just I remember the first time I saw a 5 1/4 hard drive, and then like saw it compared to like one of the old hard drives. I was like, holy crap. It's like looking at an M.2 drive and then comparing it to like, you know, an SSD, and then comparing that to a 5 1/4. Yeah. It's kind of insane how much we've shrunk storage and made it bigger at the same time. Oh yeah, and like just to keep the place like from burning up, you had to like have crazy cooling for it too. Yeah, I remember that. It's wild too to think about like what people were able to do with that little bit of a space. Like I think, what was it, the average size of a all right, hold on a sec here. Let's see here. Yeah, the average size of an Atari 2600 game is 4 kilobytes, which like is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's a very minuscule amount of information. And to think that they were able to do all of that kind of stuff with just 4 kilobytes of memory on a cartridge is just crazy to me. Yeah, vacuum tubes and bulbs are cool though. I think one of the coolest things I've seen is like there's restoration channels on YouTube where like people are actually like finding old like 1960s TVs and stuff with the old tubes and restoring them all, which I think is just awesome. I don't know, there's something cool and comforting about like old tube technologies. Yep, same. I have an old rear projection CRT TV, and you know, like it's not like it's the best image quality by any stretch. Its only advantage is that it's just a giant screen, but there's something about like how it works and how it looks that just always fascinates me. So I keep it around. Like, I think it's only like a 50-inch, which nowadays seems kind of silly. Like, you know, how small that sounds compared to back then when that was monstrously huge. But just the fact that you have like 3 CRTs and they're being driven crazy hard because they don't get very bright on their own, you know, and then projected onto a screen, and it's all in the size of a dresser. It's kind of like what we used to do for technology is just, I don't know. I'm endlessly fascinated by it. I know like a lot of new modern technology has like some really cool, you know, like if you look at like an Apple product, for example, like the engineering behind it is amazing. You know, like, yeah, it sucks that everything's all enclosed and all that, but like to be able to build your product with that degree of precision is awesome to me. Like I find it really cool. But at the same time, I don't feel like it captures a lot of that old industrial design that we used to have for products. You know, like I look back at a lot of products from like the 60s or 70s or 80s or earlier even, you know, going into the 90s. And I would say like a lot of those programs, they just felt more, or not programs, but like products and stuff, they just felt more like the design on them just felt more intuitive, I guess. They weren't trying to like maximize certain elements. Like they were more function over form, I guess would be the way to look at it. Memory, infrastructure, and devices. I don't want to understand material science researches. Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest issues we have as a society right now is actually energy. You know, not just in producing it, but just like, you know, like the next big revolution in human technology is going to have to come with another energy discovery. Because like I think we've kind of starting to hit those limits of what we could do with our current energy output, especially when it comes to environmental destruction. But like we're more efficient with our energy than we've been, and we produce a crazy amount. But like I feel like we're always right on the verge of like whatever the next big energy revolution is going to be. I have a lot of hope for like fusion reactors because, you know, they seem to be getting, you know, it seems like it's going faster. I think the last one that I just seen was like 44 seconds of fusion, which is pretty wild. You know, and I think I read somewhere that like if they can sustain the reaction for more than a minute, then it's basically it's a done deal. Like basically at that point, it's just a matter of building something to keep that reaction going longer. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. At a certain point, I think that's kind of our biggest issue. But then, of course, you know, materials and all that too. That's another issue entirely. So I don't know. It just feels like we're always just kind of on the cusp of like the next big thing, and then we're just never quite there. You know, I think that's probably why the AI thing is getting such a big push, because like, you know, besides all the money behind it, I think there's a lot of like hope that AI is going to be the next big like tech revolution. You don't think the holes until we come over the... And, you know, honestly, that's so true. Like, I understand that people are really scared of nuclear power, but, like, the biggest issue with nuclear is really just that it's very expensive to build a nuclear power plant. Like, yeah. Exactly, Master. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's so much fear-mongering about nuclear power. And, I mean, it's a legitimate fear. You know, like, I mean, all you have to do is just look at Chernobyl or Fukushima as how it can go wrong. But, like, those are, compared to how many nuclear plants exist and how long they've been in power without any problems, you know, I would say that, you know, something like a Fukushima or Chernobyl is so, like, unlikely to happen that is why you're sitting here, like, you're able to go, oh, Chernobyl, you know, like, you can rattle it off. But you couldn't remember any of the dozens of nuclear plants in your area that work all the time and have never had any issues. But people hear nuclear and they get all freaked out about it. And it's like, nope, it's a solved technology. It's been around for a long time. And the only real problem with them is that they're just very expensive to build. That's it. And they take a long time to build too. Like, the first best time to start building nuclear plants in the United States would have been like 20 years ago. But, you know, here we are. TerraPower has invested much into the power of their eventual AI and quantum computers from Microsoft. There's strong case for national corporate cut policies. Yeah, there's great cases for it, but I feel like we're in that weird part of the world right now where, like, human history, where government power is simultaneously way overreaching what it's supposed to, but also not in the hands of people who are responsible enough to use it properly. And so that means corporations are basically just running the show right now, which really sucks. There's really nothing they can say about that. So, like, I'll be honest, I was really disappointed when I saw the Trump administration culling a lot of the, like, energy and green programs and stuff, because, like, they create jobs, but the technological advantages of things like that is just, I don't understand why you would want to get rid of those kinds of things. You know, solar panels covering parking lots, for example, would be a great way to both increase cooling in cities and also, you know, increase energy output. You know, but even investments into things like trains and just all sorts of public transportation, electric vehicles, like, you should be having an all of the above approach when it comes to, you know, energy transitioning and all that kind of stuff. Like, you definitely don't want to be, like, you know, putting all your eggs in one basket. Your slogan can't be worse. Oh no, it can always get worse. It can always get worse. Damn. 30 to 40 years of continuous server. That's wild. But, you know, I mean, to be honest, that's kind of how it goes, right? You know, I mean, like, if you look at this stuff, I mean, it's, you know, like I said, it's, a lot of people don't really realize how much stuff just kind of works. They only hear about the stuff that doesn't work, and then they get mad about it. But it's like, nope, nuclear power has been around for ages, and it serves countries all over the world, you know, and does an excellent job of it. You know, oh yeah, and everything's a short-term investment now. Like, God forbid you plan for the next year. Like, that doesn't work for my shareholder investors. They want results next quarter. You know, it's like, you can't have any long-term planning in the current world right now, because nobody cares about the next 5 years. Nobody cares about the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You know, like, everybody's so focused on the next quarter, the next, you know, half year, the next year. Like, 2026, even though we're almost there, you know, we're over halfway through this year. And 2026 is still, like, this weird, like, far off time for so many people. And it's like, no, man, it's like 5 months away. Newer plants can be more sustainable in shorter time. Absolutely. Like, the technology for building nuclear plants has gotten better. But see, but breaking even, I think, is where, like that's where government's supposed to absorb the cost of those types of things. You know, like, taxpayers ultimately pay for it, but, you know, like, that's where you get subsidies from the government to keep those things, you know, built and running, because they're so crucial for energy, and obviously a huge failure point when they don't work. So, you know, realistically, yeah, I mean, you need something to, you know, like, some kind of support system for money, so that you don't have to worry about profit. I feel like when it comes to public infrastructure, profits should never be the biggest motive. Like, it should be, you know, keep this thing running, keep it working, you know, make sure that it's, you know, doing the public a net good. You know, and this idea that, like, you know, and this is more of an American focused thing, but like, you know, this idea that we can't have things for the public that are just for like a public good, you know, that they can only exist if somebody can make money off of it, is a very frustrating thing to me. You know, it's why I'm in support of things like national healthcare. I know people will complain, oh, it's government run healthcare and that's bad somehow, but like, everybody gets sick, everybody needs help. You know, it would be cheaper to do that than the current system where people don't have money, but then when they do finally have to have medical help, it's catastrophic and even more expensive. Not to mention the costs, you know, of all the like people who are sick and don't show up to work or anything like that. So it's just, to me, it just makes more sense to just have a like healthcare for everybody type of program. But people are terrified of this idea that like government can run things. And I mean, to be fair, if you see government these days, yeah, but I feel like that's less a problem with government, more about who you're putting in office. Oh yeah, the national park thing is like crazy to me that anybody would even think of selling it. Because honestly, like the tourism money alone is huge. You know, national parks in the US make a lot of money. Like, think about how many people visit Yellowstone, which is one of the world's largest forests. So yeah, it's absolute mismanagement to even be considering that kind of stuff. Yeah. Arguably, though, I mean, like, it's easy to point the finger at the current, and I mean, they are absolutely accelerating things, but like, these mismanagement issues have been a long time running, you know, because just like how you have a lot of shareholders who are always trying to, like, you know, look only at the next quarter or the next, you know, it's very short-term views, you know, from a lot of the management perspective of things, they like to kick things down the road. They don't want to have to be responsible for it now. But no, I no offense taken, Master. Like, so, okay, here's the thing about the American healthcare system. The American healthcare system is broken because it was designed that way. And it wasn't like an evil thing, but when America was younger, healthcare really wasn't a thing at all. You had doctors that would go door to door, you know, make house calls and stuff like that. But like the idea of like a major hospital system was mostly like a big city thing, and not even really then. And healthcare and a lot of other benefits that people have for their jobs, they got tied to jobs because, you know, instead of government, because companies at the time, this is when the American economy was starting to boom after the World War I and II. Like, companies needed perks to keep employees because they didn't have the ability to, because they were getting taxed like crazy from the government. They didn't have the ability to, you know, kind of act the way they do now. So the perks were their way of not paying the employees and still keeping profit for themselves, so that they didn't have to get taxed as much. Basically, the idea was like they were reinvesting it into the business. And so you had this weird patchwork of hospitals that kind of cropped up around this, and, you know, the insurance industry and all that kind of came from that too. And then, you know, obviously here we are now, it's, you know, half a century later, and now that companies have been stripping away benefits from American workers, and they, you know, like the pension system is gone, it's been replaced with the 401k system, which is nowhere near as good. You know, but like there's just a lot of things that American workers don't have anymore, and healthcare is a disaster as a result of that. Because oh no, the I'm talking like when I say tax like crazy, I mean the before and the after. So before FDR and all of the taxes and stuff, the corporations and the wealthy and stuff weren't paying that much in taxes. But you got to remember, he slapped on, like, I think it was like a 90% tax rate on anything you made over $1 million. which is wild, right? Nowadays, people would faint hearing that. But the effective tax rate on it, I think it only ended up being like 75%, which is still quite high. And here's the thing, they were still rich. They were still rich. It's not like they were poor because of this. They just didn't have as much money. But, you know, the government raking in all that money from taxes, they put it right back into the economy. And so, you know, that's how you got the highway system built, and that's how you got the dams, and a lot of infrastructure was built during that time. And you had a lot of investments. Like, we're on the internet right now because of the investments from that, because that was the investment into the DARPA net and stuff like that. So, you know, which eventually became the internet. So, like, government investment in you know, in projects and stuff for the US, not to mention the benefits to businesses, because a lot of things that started out as research projects at things like, oh, I don't know, universities, you know, that turned into, you know, like stuff that we all have today. Even dumb stuff. Like, people laugh about this, but the reason why you have pens that can write upside down is because when the astronauts were going to space for the moon mission, they couldn't use pencils because pencils have lead in them, or graphite or whatever, right? And they were worried about the shavings getting into all the instruments. So they needed a pen, but pens can't write in zero gravity. So they had to invent a pen that could write essentially upside down in zero gravity, because if you try to use a pen upside down, the ink flows the other direction because of gravity, right? They had to invent a pen that would do that. So that is why you have a pen that can write in basically any direction, is because of that investment. And it seems like, exactly, graphite was conductive and could create a fire explosion hazard. That is exactly right. So, you know, the technology that goes into doing that has a benefit in many, many industries. You know, it's not just that you get a pen that writes upside down, it's all of the research and development that goes into that can now be applied to other things. And, you know, the fact that, like, people don't see that, you know, they make fun of it. They'll be like, oh, this university is doing a research into why chickens have 3 toes instead of 2 toes. And that seems like a giant waste of money. And it's like, well, no, because it's actually a genetics study, you know, and they're actually trying to figure out genetics because there's a thing called polydactyl, blah, blah, blah. You get the point, you know? So it's like, people don't really see stuff that isn't like immediately apparent. And that's, you know, but like, that's exactly what happened. You had all of this research and investment into all these different programs, and the knock-on effect of all of these things, you know, was huge. It's a big, giant reason why the American economy was so crazy after World War II, because the government just dumped a bunch of money into the economy and said, hey, here you go. And they got that money from taxing rich people and businesses. And we've gone backwards on that. Because, you know, starting around the late 70s, early 80s, we started deregulating everything, which led to a lot of mergers and acquisitions. And the rich people, you know, they didn't get taxed as much anymore. We cut taxes for rich people. We're still doing it. I mean, it just happened last month. We passed a big bill to make tax cuts for rich people permanent. So, you know, here we are. And it's like, yeah. Compared to rich people keeping their money. Well, and that's the thing, like, I kind of compare rich people to dragons, because dragons like to just sit on their money and not spend it. You know, like, Elon Musk is worth, what, almost $1 trillion at this point? Like, he doesn't really spend it. He gets money handed to him from the government for contracts, and, you know, like, his shareholders, they throw money at him to keep him on staff and stuff. But, like, imagine what you could do with that kind of money. And I'm not saying he needs to personally go out and solve world hunger or anything like that, but, like, it's silly that one person has that kind of money, because it never really gets used. He's never going to put any of that kind of wealth to work. I would hope you do, considering that the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is about $1,000 million. Like, what was the statistic? It was like, if it takes you like 3 days to spend $1 million, it takes you 30 years to spend. Yep, exactly. He's pulling out the numbers. Look at that. Yep. 1,000,000 seconds is like 2 weeks. A billion is like 30 something years. Exactly. And I'm not saying that rich people actually have all the wealth that they're supposed to have on paper. Like, I'm well aware that Elon Musk does not have in his hands, you know, billions and billions of dollars, you know, according to his net worth or whatever. I'm aware of that, but like, he doesn't ever have to ask for money ever again because he just has it. Like, people don't understand that when you're a certain level of rich, it doesn't matter what your number is. It's just a bragging right at that point. So, you know, well, I mean, Elon Musk was a millionaire before he was a billionaire. His dad gave him all that money. You know, same with Trump. You know, Trump got all his fortune from his dad. Trump was not a self-made millionaire, billionaire. He was given all that money. As a matter of fact, when he went bankrupt, like I think the first time, he basically lost like $1 billion in bankruptcy, and his dad bailed him out. So, you know, very few rich people are actually self-made. Not saying it never happens. I mean, you see it happen on Twitch all the time, that there's, you know, some up-and-comer who's made a lot of money. You know, so I'm not saying it doesn't happen ever, but like, the vast majority of people who are extremely rich are people who have been born into it. And even then, there's an illusion on the internet that like somebody's an Instagram or TikTok star and they are self-made millionaires. But the reality is that they're able to do all the things that they do is because they already started out pretty rich. Just a silver spoon kid, that phrase, I got a small loan of $1 million, right? Exactly. You know, Bill Gates, his mom and dad, I mean, they gave him everything he ever needed. You know, same with Jeff Bezos. Like, his fundraising for his for Amazon and stuff, that all came out of his family. You know, that was God, I can't remember I think his dad, his family gave him like $100,000 to help him start PayPal. Let's see here. PayPal. Let's see here. Let's see. Trying to see the numbers here. Yeah, he got $300,000 from his parents, who offered $300,000 for startup costs for Amazon. After a few dozen million, if you're not using much of that money, then numbers don't matter, Nagor. Yeah. Bill Gates is one of the few exceptions. He's actually putting his giant fortune to work on meaningful projects. He has. Him and his wife have actually done a lot of really good stuff with their money. But yeah, I mean, even Bill Gates has kind of been involved in some shit I think he probably should have stayed out of. I feel like after 100 millionaire, it just dumps into the general funds to aid in community national projects. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, people say you're punishing success when you're taxing rich people or something like that, but the reality is like, if you have more than enough money to be able to indulge yourself in very luxurious ways, then like, you're made it. You're good. Like, if you can't be a super rich, you know, person off of, you know, let's say $10 million, you know, like, what are you doing with your life? You know, if 10 million's not enough to basically live in luxury for the rest of your life, you're really bad with money. You know, like, you know, if 10 million isn't enough to have a really awesome sports car or vacations for the rest of your life or to buy nice artwork or something, like, I mean, you know, when you hear the crazy stories of what people do when they're, you know, uber rich, it's like there was one guy who he, like, every single day he had to have a fresh pair of underwear. He could not wear the same pair twice, so he would throw away his old underwear and just every day have a brand new thing. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's a mental disorder at that point, you know. So, or gold plating all of the plumbing in your house like MC Hammer did, which is absolutely stupid. The other thing too is look at the well-being of the employees. Like, if they work for your company, still need to apply for aid or food or shelter, then something is definitely wrong. But see, a lot of people who would be in charge of making sure that's not a problem are also not the same people who will be dealing with them on a regular basis. Like, it's a kind of a thing where, like, there's a bit of divisiveness that comes from people who don't spend time with other types of people that aren't like them. So, like, it's hard for poor people to understand what it's like to be rich and understand rich people problems, because how many rich people do poor people really hang around? And rich people do have problems. You know, like, there is a lot of like drug abuse and depression and stuff, because handling wealth, it seems like it's always like easy street, but it can be really frustrating. I'm not trying to like be super sympathetic to rich people, but like, it's not always perfect. You know, but like, it's hard to understand that because, hey, I mean, how many of us have ever been that kind of successful, right? The same thing with being poor, though, is like, it's hard to sympathize sometimes if you see somebody who's just homeless on the street, because, you know, your normal thought process is like, well, why doesn't that person just get a job? And it's like, no, there's lots of circumstances that can cause somebody to be poor and homeless. You know, so like, it's hard to judge, you know. I mean, I guess it's easier for some people to judge, but like, it's hard to judge if you don't know what it's like to be those people. You know, and so I think, like, when it comes to upper management, you know, they don't really, like, speaking from my workplace as an example, there's a lot of really stupid policies that get handed down from upper management. And it's like, these people have never done the job you're doing. You can just tell. If they have, they haven't done it in a really long time. You know, so they will pass down these stupid ideas like, oh, well, you know, you need to pay more attention to this thing, or you need to, you know, talk to customers you know, this way. And it's like, but these are dumb ideas. And they'll be like, well, why? And it's like, well, here's why. And you rattle off the reasons, and they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's not how the job is supposed to be. And it's like, well, you're not doing this job every day. I am. So it's like, you kind of need to, you know, be a bit more understanding. And to be fair, I mean, it goes the other way too. Like, you know, people at my rank, we bitch about management all the time, but, you know, they have their own headaches they got to deal with. So, yeah, it's like, I don't have to feel sorry for them per se, but like, I do think people would be a bit more sympathetic to each other if they understood what it was like to be in the other person's shoes. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is I can't feel 100% sorry for rich people because they have more resources. You know, it reminds me of when we had the financial crisis. You know, like the saving, not the savings loans, the big one in 2008. You know, the credit loan crisis or whatever. And like, CNN had an interview with some middle class people or whatever, and they were asking how the crash had affected them, and they were complaining that they were going to have to put their plans off because they had a $50,000 gazebo they wanted to build, and they couldn't do it this year. They'd have to do it next year. And I'm like, let me bust out the world's tiniest violin for your sacrifice here. You know, people are losing their houses, you know, but you can't build your casino. I don't think these are the same problems here. Yeah, and that's exactly it. People just get disconnected. You know, it's like there was a politician who was like, you know, I wonder how hard it would be to live off of food stamp, you know, like the budget of a food stamp person for like a month. And they actually set aside the money that those people, you know, like if you make like $2,000 a month, you know, and you live in New York, you know, how far can that really go, right? And it's like, he couldn't do it. He literally admitted he couldn't do it, that like at the end of the month he had to basically dip into this money, you know, to be able to keep going and finishing out the month. He's like, yeah, I ran out of money like 2.5 weeks in. You know, it's like, yeah, that's what it's like to be poor. Yep. Congrats. Now imagine that you don't have your, you know, nice cushy job to go back to, and that's your life. That's a much different picture, man. You know, like that's normal life for people. You know, they don't get to like take a break and, you know, go back to their, you know, 6+ figure a year, you know, a month, you know, job. So, yeah. It's not fun. It's not fun to have to deal with these issues. Like, it's not fun to have to choose between paying your medical bills or paying your rent. It's not fun to have to choose between, you know, going to your, you know, work when you're sick or not. You know, not being able to afford to take a day off. You know, it's not fun to have to think about these things and deal with them. You know, that's my envy for rich people, is like, when something goes wrong in their life, they just pay somebody else to take care of it. You know, oh, looks like I had some damage to my roof. I'll just pay a guy. He shows up, he's paid, the roof is done. I don't got to stress over it. You know, like, not having to deal with the stress of day-to-day stuff is like one of the biggest perks, I think, to being rich. Like, if you ever ask anybody who's poor, like, you know, if you win the lotto, you know, blah, 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 it's like, they will always say the same things. Like, I will pay my bills and I will get all of these things in my life that I've had to put off. I will finally get them fixed. You know, wouldn't that be an interesting law? But I mean, that also brings to mind, like, should we even have companies organized like this anymore? Like, do we need to have hierarchies where, you know, there's one guy at the top and a board of people who tell everybody else what to do, even though those people just reap the rewards and don't really have to put that much work into their jobs? You know, to be honest, I think it would be better if, like, things were shared a bit more. I know, sounds like socialism, but, like, you know, if there was more shared equity in a company, I think you'd have more interest from people at the bottom and the top in the fate of the company, as opposed to the current structure where it just feels like you have a whole bunch of people at the top leeching off of you, you know, and the lowest rungs just feels helpless and feels like they're just getting their life sucked out of them. I mean, it just seems like maybe there should be more democracy in the workplace. Right, invest back into your employees. Like, companies are always complaining that employees don't like to stick around, and it's like, well, yeah, because you don't give them anything. Only in America, socialism is a bad word. Well, I think only in America can you make dumb shit like socialism be a bad word. Like, the funny thing about socialism, and I've maintained this for a long time, like, in America, you have this stupid conversation between capitalism and socialism, as if and it just shows you that people don't understand what the fuck socialism actually is. But it's funny to me that, like, this whole conversation has stuck around for so freaking long now. And it's like, we are now into 2025. The world, the people, like, when socialism and capitalism had a genuine fight for, like, what the world could look like, that whole thing was, like, over a century ago. This is not that world anymore. We don't live in that world. We have the ability to produce as much as we want for pretty much anything. Like, we don't need to worry about socialism versus capitalism anymore. Our question for the future when it comes to economics is, why the fuck are we paying for all this shit? Like, we have the technology to basically automate anything with very few actual humans needing to do any of this. Like, we should all be living in absolute luxury at this point. Like, to the point where, like, even the poorest people would have a mansion type of life. You know, like, every day should be a vacation. There's no reason for us to have to deal with all this shit. The only reason that we're all trapped in this paradigm is because there are people who absolutely don't like the idea that everybody else should also have a luxurious lifestyle. Money and power, that's all it is. Like, we have many, many ways of coming up with economic systems that have nothing to do with capitalism or socialism that could be our future. And none of them are ever going to get the light of day because we're so busy arguing about archaic, old-ass ways of doing economics. Even though the tenets of both of those things don't even fucking matter anymore. Like, capitalism, the way people think it works with, you know, Madison and Smith and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. Socialism, the way Marx was proposing it, does not exist and probably never will. Like, both of these things are so distorted at this point that they're meaningless. So what's the point? Why are we even arguing about these things? You know? But you can't talk about these things because somebody will sit there and go, oh, you're a socialist, because it's like, it's not more than the word. They're just slandering you because they want to, yell at you for how dare you might think differently. And it's like, people get, it's like the Matrix. People are so ingrained into the system that they can't conceive of anything else except for the system. Thinking outside the box is so hard for them because they don't see outside the box ever. They don't think of like, well, what could this world look like if it was completely different? That's hard for people to think about. Everything in their life is rooted around this system that they've grown up in. Like, the reason why you don't see people rushing out to punish rich people is because they're all raised with the belief that one day they too might be rich and they will be able to benefit from this current system. And it's like, well, maybe, there's a lot of soon to be millionaires in our society, I guess, but that's where we're at. It's indoctrination. Exactly. You're my enemy, so your words are evil and mean nothing to me. And it's the same thing if you criticize capitalism, you have to do it the proper way. If you criticize capitalism too much, people get really uncomfortable with it, because even if you're not actually talking about socialism, like, remove that from the argument entirely, people can't even sit there and talk and agree with like how capitalism itself should work. So, like, one of the concepts in capitalism is the flow of money. Money needs to go from one place to another for capitalism to work. If money is stagnant in any particular spot, it's a really bad thing for capitalism, because capitalism depends on money going and exchanging hands from one party to the next on a constant basis. This is why having your wealth concentrated is a bad thing, because if you hit a situation where wealth is concentrated too much, then the rest of the people who don't have the wealth can't spend, and the engine of capitalism stops. You need to be able to have money transferring from the bottom to the top and back up again, because if you don't, then people can't buy your shit and everything falls apart. This is why having inflation is a bad thing. If you have too much inflation, everything collapses because nobody can afford anything. And if you have too much deflation, then debt no longer matters and everybody spends like crazy, and that can potentially create hyperinflation. So you need to find that balance between inflation and deflation. And you need to do that through proper flow of money. Otherwise, you end up with an artificial economy like we have right now. Hey, economics. And that's exactly it, Master. It is like, rich people are in charge and they want more money. That's really all it is. At the end of the day, like, that's all you get. Is that it's that simple. And that right there is a tale as old as time. It goes back to the eras of kings and emperors and dynasties and all that kind of stuff. Is there's always somebody out there who wants to have more, and everything else is, yeah. Bam. Saribot just put the hammer on that guy. Thank you, Saribot. Every time, every single stream, there is at least one guy who pops in as a bot. Hey, would you like to have free art, or like, here you can get cheap view bots? Nope, I don't need view bots. I want real members of the community that actually talk with. Yeah, my model does that sometimes. I'm leaning really far back from the camera. There we go. How's that? A little bit better? Oh, did it? Let me see here. Nope, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. I'm not dropping any frames or anything. I haven't dropped a single frame this stream. Yeah, I mean, it could have been Twitch too. Twitch isn't the most stable platform. Yeah, it could have been server side. But yeah, I'm just looking at my stats in OBS. I missed 1 frame out of 300,000 frames. So yeah, I haven't really dropped or missed any real frames. Yep, extremely low. So, and YouTube's still up and running just fine too. You probably would be. Man, that would be fun to do. I'd love to have a Nero stream. Like, a Nero stream would be hilarious. I saw what he did for Zentria's TTS voices. Oh my god. That Russian voice? Oh. Get good, noob. Hey, you know, like we can't all be like, you know, super awesome at this stuff, right? I want to be a scuff streamer for probably a very long time. Yeah, just realized I can do this. I should have been doing this too. There we go. Now you guys can actually see the music that's playing. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Let's see here. Ooh, how about this one? Yeah. Sorry, I remember that Seriebot had chat commands. So I can do stuff like this now. Oh. Nope, still haven't dropped. We'll blink one day and you'll be moving pictures of a bygone age. Technically, we're moving pictures right now. That's all video is. It's an awesome illusion. Alright. We're going to swap out here for a lower model. There we go. Hey, I'm tiny. There we go. Yeah. Alright. 2K models loaded. Maybe that'll help with the occasional stutters. 16-bit VTuber model? Now that'd be pretty fun. Oh, I can kind of do that, actually. Let's see here. I can't remember if it's... Is it this one? How about that? That may be too much pixel. There we go. Increase the resolution a little bit though. And let's see, how 16-bit should we go here? Ah. Yeah, it's a little bit, but I'm not sure I like the colors on it though. Could do that. Behold! I'm censored. There we go. I'm the best VTubers. Oh god, that hurts my eyes to look at. Alright. Anyway. Let's cancel that one. There's some really fun stuff you can do here. Like we can do some rain. You can have it behind me if you wanted. Or some snow. Very Christmassy, right? You can also do... let's see here. You can do some particle effects. Let's see here. Oh, this is like all of the particles at once. Yeah, baby. You love me. Tokyo Ghoul theme? Let's see here. What is background shift? And I'm not seeing that. Old film effect. Ah! That's too much. I think the blue might be messing with this. Fake low FPS. I mean, that you can do that normally anyway. It's just kind of a weird, that's a weird toggle. I don't like that toggle. Let's see here. Line scanner? What's this one? Oh God, what is this? Oh, that's, that is horrifying. What is what the what is this? Does it go from the other way? Oh. Oh, that is cursed. That is cursed. We got to like really let's really lean this. Oh, it's like a two-headed ogre. Oh man, that's. Here, we can up the scan stuff. Let's see. Oh my gosh. All right, one more. Oh no. Well, that turned out really bad. Okay. All right, enough of that one. That was cursed, man. That was so cursed. Oh, wow. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh. Present day. Present time. Oh, I'm like very, very like VHS right now, huh? Let's see here. Digital glitch. Ah. Everything's fine, guys. Twitch is fine. There's nothing wrong with Twitch right now. Let's see. So, oh, cinematic letterbox. In a world. In a world where your favorite VTuber is really, really stupid. No explanation necessary. Let's see. Oh wow, you can like. All right, this is as far as I can zoom in. Help. I'm not judging you. I'm silently judging you. Ah! All right. So that was the letterbox function. Let's see what else we got on here. Foggy window. Oh. Let's get steamy in here. I think there's a way you can make it into an emote. I actually can't remember, but there is a YouTube like thing that kind of talks about it. But I think you have to do it on like StreamerBot. But that would definitely be a fun one to set up. Speedline effect. Ooh, we could change the. Can we change the? Oh wow, that's. All right. So that could be a toggle too. Oh Lord, he coming. We did the pixel effect. Lens distortion. What's this? This is uncomfortably awkward. This is so cursed. No, this is way more cursed. Holy shit, that is. I didn't think that was. All right, this is trippy. Kids definitely don't do drugs. All right, so So that was lens distortion. What is wave distortion then? Oh. Oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. So that's the... Oh, that's actually, it's kind of cool, actually. All right, that's a bit much. All right, what else do we got here? We have blur, which I mean should be self-explanatory. Yeah, just blurry. That was not that exciting. Let's see. Then we have TV static grain. Oh. That's very grainy. This is a good test of bitrate, right? Not the most exciting one. Then we have old TV effect. Oh. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Probably turn down some of this. Interlacing. That's kind of cool. All right. Let's see. Edge detection. What does this one do? Oh, that makes me very crispy. Ah! Okay. That was terrifying. Alright. And then we have posterize. I don't know what posterize does. Oh. Apparently it gets rid of all my color. Huh? And then we have the ASCII text effect. Okay. I am oh wow. So I'm just made of, oh my gosh, I am the Matrix. That's kind of a cool effect, actually. Like, I'm like almost like one of those like 3D hologram type things. You could use that as a transition when moving into something digital, right? That's pretty sick, actually. I kind of like this. You can change the colors too. So if you wanted to be like, you know, use the forest Luke. Could be very pink. That's very sick. I actually like this one a lot. We'll have to figure out what to do with that in the future. There we go. I mean, OBS has, or YouTube Studio has like custom backgrounds and stuff too you can do, but, you know, if you want to like, some a little bright like that, or, maybe not that one. That's way too bright. Cookies. There we go. Classic background, right? I don't know why. I think it's the boom effect. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me turn that off. No, it actually just doesn't show. Yeah, it's clouds. These are all just way too bright. No. There we go. Don't dox yourself? For what? The IPs and stuff? Oh, that's not happening. Unless you saw something I didn't. Curtains. Hmm? Oh, that? I was like, wait, what? And then I saw the background. Yeah. No curtains behind me. Got me all worried. I mean, there's always a very small possibility that the programs could break and show something. I think that's always a fear that every YouTuber is going to have. I mean, I very clearly am not a, attractive looking person with horns. But, I mean, not the horns part at least. Right? Be a lot cooler if we all were like that. What the heck, man? I thought every person looked like their VTuber model. Unbelievable. Well, I'd say this has been a pretty successful test of the multi-streaming. Yeah, I'm actually gonna be shutting down too. So I didn't really plan on streaming for a super long time. I'm really glad you guys showed up though and stuff. The talks have been awesome. So yeah. I saw you were playing Monster Hunter yesterday, so I figured I'd kind of sit in your chat and give you some support for a bit. But yeah, hope we're doing good. Yeah, it's looking really good. So I think we're gonna continue with this. But yeah. Oh, you too, Master. All right. Yeah, then this is definitely a good time to call it. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So thanks guys for coming out, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be streaming more soon. So take care, guys. Take care.